Okay, here we are. First of all, thank you for your time, Ben.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate the invitation.
Of course. I want to ask you some questions about you. So let's start. The first one is, why do you play poker?
I would say very early on, I realized that I don't want to work for something or someone where I have no influence on the result, right? So very often the jobs we have today, that no matter how good you work or how poor you perform, you get the same amount of money every month, or you don't have anything at stake. If you do an excellent job, yeah, you get the same paycheck every month, or you don't get any additional rewards if you perform well. There are certain jobs where you get some bonuses, but I wanted to be in charge on how much I can make or how much I can lose. I wanted to be responsible for my own performance. And yeah, this is what really bothered me. And I never really understood in our today's society. And also, I'm just very competitive. So, of course, playing a game is something that really strikes me as something that I always considered as doing full time. So yeah, that was just, I think these are the main reasons why I play poker. I could have also imagined playing other games, but in my circle of friends, poker was very popular. So then I just gave it a shot.
When did you realize that poker could be a way of living for you?
I think at the beginning, it was more the learnings I made along the way. I was never really about, oh, I want to play this and make it a full-time income. I think I don't want to say it's destined to fail, but I think that this is one of the main reasons why so many fail, that they see others, oh, he makes a living out of it. And those who actually just enjoy the journey, they do it because they like it. And yeah, they just appreciate all the other learnings that you will experience because of poker, I think are more destined to succeed. And I think at some point when my bankroll grew and I could on a monthly basis to withdraw some money to afford some stuff that I couldn't afford before. It was never really a lot of money, maybe, going on a trip or investing. I use the money more for investing, like hiring a coach or investing into poker material. I realized, wow, I can afford stuff. Of course, here and there, also for some more pleasant things like trips and stuff. But I think then I realized, wow, this is getting serious. I could make a living out of it, even though it was just a couple of $100 each month. And I always made sure that my bankroll, it doesn't affect my bankroll. I could still play the same limits, but here and there, then I withdrew some money. And I think that's where I realized, once you start buying stuff from the poker money, or you needed to replace hardware in your computer, or you invested into a new screen and you bought it from your poker money, I think that was pretty epic. And I realized that's cool.
I want to know a thing about you. Why did you stay in the shadows at first without showing you?
Yeah.
Of course,
Why?
you show, yes, right. Because you show, of course, your content, your voice, but not your
Yeah.
face.
It was mainly because that I realized very early on that if you want to succeed in something, you want to have as little distraction as possible.
Yeah.
And to me, for a very long time, I just didn't see any benefits in putting my face out there. And I just thought it's going to be a distraction. So I just didn't see any benefits of doing it. And that's why I didn't want to do it. At some point, I realized, all right, there might be some benefits with, taking on some really cool projects, collaborate. I couldn't be collaborating now with you if I wouldn't have put my face out there, right? So there was also an event in Vienna. We had our very first Raise Your Edge community event. And that was before I put my face out there. I was working with people in real life and talking to them and having conversations. And I really enjoyed that. And this really made me think that, okay, maybe I should give it a try.
I saw a video where you introduced yourself and you said that we have a FATAC system and education system. and that your mission is to make an impact and get a few lives of people better. Can you talk me a little bit about that?
Well, that basically one of the reasons, as I said, was that I started playing poker is that I find our not only our educational system, but most jobs, I find it very questionable. I think a lot of people are not happy, and it starts with our educational system, where you get hammered in that they try to make you fit into that let's say, to that rat race where you're constantly chasing after one paycheck after the other, and you're not really fulfilled. You're not having any passion for your work. And I know it's a big mission, and it's a big vision, but I just want to show people, hey, there's more than that. I mean, if you can make a living out of playing cards, I mean, most of the time we're just being held back by all sorts of excuses, by toxic people, by a fucked up educational system that teaches you that, you know, you have to fit into that norm, that is into these paradigms that society is trying to teach you. And then of course you get scared. You're not really sure. Should you try to build your own business? Should you try to become a professional poker player? Whatever it is, because usually what we are passionate about is usually what doesn't necessarily fit into society's idea of what is so-called accepted. And this is what I'm just trying to achieve, that showing people, hey, it's possible. And you need to, of course, have some courage and do stuff differently. Usually if you want to succeed in something, it's not about following what the 99% of the others are doing. It's more about thinking a little bit outside of the box, whether it's educating yourself, learning new skills, and just stepping out of your comfort zone. So, and not necessarily what you have learned in school. I think what you learn in school or in college isn't necessarily always what is going to make you succeed. Of course, there are certain educations that are required. If you want to become a lawyer, if you want to work in as a doctor, you need to learn that shit, right? So this is hard to teach yourself on YouTube videos, but for the most part, a lot of the stuff you can learn online, right? I've learned more online on how to build a business than I did in my college, and I studied business. I have a bachelor degrees. I started my master degrees, but at some point I stopped because I realized I'm not really learning anything. I have my degree, but I cannot just go to an institution, show my degree. Hey, now I want to build a business. You're not getting anywhere. The degrees are usually just there to pay, to work for someone. And
you're right.
This is. How about you? Did you study anything, or did you work somewhere before you got into poker?
I started working as photographer at 18
Oh,
years
interesting.
old, so 6 years ago. And well, I started in the poker world, and here I am. Now I'm communicating everything, and I think the same. If you're passionate with something, that's it. It depends, of course, of your goals in life, but I think that happiness is the most important thing. So that's why I choose my work. Yeah, you're right.
That's cool.
We talk about learn, but now you're teaching of, well, not now, some years. So what do you like most about teaching?
I think it's just helping people, that you can see that people make progress, and just very often, you know, getting the message, hey, you know, this has really helped me. And very often it's about the things that you don't necessarily consider as so important. And I try to teach strategies and GTO stuff, and you know, I always try to find a way on communicating complicated things in a simple way so people can understand it. But very often it's just the things that you don't necessarily consider as so valuable, whether it's just you know, hey Ben, you know, the way you react to bad beats, or the way you react if you have a score, or the amount of content you're putting out is like, oh, people really enjoy that, or just being honest, you know. It's just, then it's more about actually the traits and the characteristics that you embody that people appreciate. And I realized, all right, I just got to be myself. Of course, not everyone likes it, and that's totally okay. But then I think also people will appreciate and understand what you're trying to communicate in the first place. Because if you're fake and if you're trying to fake something, even if your content is good, but then it's also not going to really influence people, because they can sense that you're not genuine, right? So for me, I just try to be the person I am. And I also think it really helped me on Twitch when I realized, or when I remember the first time I started on Twitch, I was like, okay, let's make sure not to fuck it up. Let's make sure maybe to be politically correct, to not say things that might not be okay with people. I'm like, today I don't give a fuck. Just, of course, it has to have a certain.
We're humans. So.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I say what I think, and if you don't like it, there's so many other channels, but it also now enjoy it way more. I'm way less I'm way more careless, and I also think that now then I can have a much stronger bond with my community. And this also influences my teaching, because I can really focus on then, okay, let's find the best stuff that I can teach. And then we have that mutual benefit from it, that people can learn from me. And I can also learn how to become a better teacher. With everything that I teach, I get better every single time. And just getting that feedback, it just means a lot to me, right? And this is what I also believe. The word, or let's say, what was the saying? Just be the change you would like to see in the world. Yeah. And I think if we would just support each other, then this world would be a much better place. And I just try to go ahead and be a good role model, and hopefully inspire also more people to do something similar.
And you show it with your amazing community. I think I really like that, because you are very interested with people, you know, not just the content, with the theory, with people. So
yeah, that doesn't mean that I'm easy on people. I know I probably have made a lot of people mad, the things I say, because I'm also calling out bullshit. If I see someone is trying to be, you know, sneaky and finding excuses, I think I have a good sense for that, and I can be very hard. And I think I can be both. I can be understanding and empathic, but if I see someone is bullshitting around, is trying to find excuses, I'm gonna call him out on that. And if he doesn't like that, then so be it. But I think it's important to be very honest.
Yes, of course. This is the way to correct our mistakes, because
yeah, sure,
we can't.
Yeah.
Next one is we talk about the beautiful part about poker and stuff, but what is the most challenging thing about being a poker player?
I think for a poker player, when you were winning consistently, it's more about keeping the confidence high, even though when things are not going so well. I can just speak for myself. If I just have a few bad sessions, you already start thinking, are you still beating it? What are you doing wrong? Are people exploiting you? You know, you have all these fucked up thoughts. So I think that's a big challenge, especially when you're on a big downswing, to keep showing up, to keep trying. However, the problem is when there's someone that is actually losing player, and I've seen that over and over again. People messaging me with their graphs and, hey Ben, I'm on a downswing, I don't know what to do. I think, and then the graph constantly goes like this, it goes down, like maybe a few ups and over thousands of games. I think then the first step is to realize that you're actually losing player that just had a few upswings. And this is the biggest challenge, I think, for poker players who haven't turned winning players yet, who are trying. And they just keep bullshitting themselves. They're just on the downswing. No, you're actually losing player that just had a few upswings. That's all right, but you got to be honest with yourself. And then for winning players, it's actually the other way around. They think they start being losing players just because they're on a downswing, and they are incredibly hard on themselves. So at least this has been the challenge for me. And at the beginning, I also thought I just have bad luck. You know, I'm good enough. I don't need strategy, and I don't need to work on my game. So then I was not winning at the beginning, but I was just not honest to myself. And I think that's an incredibly tough challenge for both sides.
Yes. Well, last week you finished 11 at the WSOP main event, and you made some stories on Instagram talking about the importance of not pressure yourself with the amount of money on the prices. I think this is something you learn through the years.
Yeah.
But so if I ask some tips to give to beginner players, what would you say? What would you say?
I mean, ultimately, when you jump into poker and you want to play tournaments, at some point you will have a deep run, right? And then you will think about the money, and you're going to start pressuring yourself, and it will influence your decisions. And first of all, you need to understand that you're not alone. I think every poker player, unless you're a machine, is feeling the same way. Yeah. So it's not that you have a disadvantage. There are a lot of players who are very scared, they're anxious, and they might make misplays. So it's just about being a little bit more calmer, being a bit more relaxed than the others. So it's more like a shared experience of every human being that will ever have a deep run. I think even if you have a lot of money, I know a lot of poker players that still have a racing heartbeat. It's all about bad beats. And so I think that will already take out a lot of the pressure that we're imposing on ourselves. The second tip I would give is, it at least helps me, that it is already kind of destined what is going to happen. So even though if you study a lot, of course you can have an impact to the outcome. But even if you study a lot, even if you meditate, if you have a good warm-up, if you cool during the session, if calm, if you don't tilt, you can still bust in the 20th place, and it's already in the future what's going to happen. So you can't really impact the variance, right? And what people, I feel like, are trying to force it too much, too hard. Like, I gotta make plays, I gotta have to do this. Just chill, just relax. It's already decided at which place you bust, right? So just because you put in all the work doesn't mean you're going to finish first, right? So you will perform slightly better than everyone else if you put in the work. On the long run, if you look at 20, 30, 40 deep runs that you're going to have, you will be placed much better than the average player. And this is where you're going to make the money. If you get 7th instead of 9th, if you get 12th instead of 17th, because others bust there because they make poor decisions. But it's not in your choice. It's not in your, it's not your decision how lucky you're going to be. And so for me, then, if I think like this, then there's no point to worry about, oh my God, where am I going to bust? How much money am I going to make? And also the last tip that really has helped me, I of course know the pay jump. So I know, okay, 33 players left. The next pay jump is going to be 27th. But I try to cut out how much money is at stake. For the main event, for example, I messaged Fernando, one of our guy from Raise Your Edge that is working for Raise Your Edge, by the way, great guy. I told him to send me the pay jumps without the money. So I know, all right, 40 left, next pay jump, 37. 33 left, next pay jump, 27th. But I don't know how much money. So I can really focus on making good decisions. I don't let the money influence my decision. Ask a friend of yours to do the same. That's not a lot of work. And I did this the moment I realized that the money can have quite a big impact on your decision. So I was like, okay, what can I do about this? Well, then let's not look at the pay jumps. Let's not look at the money. That was the biggest conclusion for me. And ever since, I think I can play very, not careless, but with the right balance between excitement and care. because I don't want to be overly excited, but I also don't want to be too careful because then you get too scared. So it's like, it's a good balance between the two of them.
Okay, yeah, amazing. I really like to hear you. Okay, 5 quick questions to finish. Starting with, what is the best memory of your career?
Poker. I think when I won my first scoop title on Cherry Island, there was like an island in Canada where we have been grinding with Stefan Sondheimer, Rainer Kempi, Fedor Holz, Julian Thomas, and a couple of other Germans, Klaas Segebrecht. And it's just great to have your first biggest score in tournaments and you can celebrate it with others. I mean, that was just, then afterwards we had beers in the hot tub, and it was just overall a great experience that we'll never forget.
Yeah.
And also I have to mention that I once misclick registered in a no limit hold'em high-low, not no limit, sorry. It was Omar high-low no limit tournament. I didn't even know the rules for pot limit Omar. So it was high-low. I had no clue. It was like, I think 1,000, 2,000 runners. It was just a $10 tournament or $5 tournament. It was also rebuy, and I shipped the whole thing. At some point I realized you're chopping most of the time anyway. People are still folding. If you get it in, you still have 40, 38%, 45%, even with the shit hand. And in the late stage, I kept jamming, rejamming, going all in. And I even was a massive chip leader on the final table. I remember we were boot camping with a friend, and my friend was railing. We both didn't know when we won. We just, the moment where the chips went, we could see, oh, we won. Oh, we split.
What is happening? No, very, very funny.
Yeah, and then I won the whole thing. And yeah, it was,
what a misclick.
It was pretty funny.
Amazing misclick.
Yeah, it was a misclick. Yeah.
Beautiful misclick. Okay. What would you like to say to yourself, to Bencb, from 10 years ago?
That's a good question. I would say I would like to say many things, but you might not be surprised, but I would just tell him to be patient and to not freak out when things are not going so well. That I think back then I didn't realize. Today it's a bit easier, but I think the failures I had, I took them more personal and I cared more about them than I do today, because today I know, okay, what's the problem here? What went wrong? What can we learn from it? And I just see it more as a learning than a failure. And back then I saw it more as a failure than actually learning. And this, of course, causes you a lot of thoughts or unnecessary thoughts and worries that are just simply draining and taking a lot of energy away for other projects where you could use that energy very well. And I was just, caring too much about failures and problems and not necessarily seeing them as a late learning. Yeah, I would tell that to myself 10 years ago. Yeah.
Patience. Yeah.
What about you? What would you tell yourself if you look 10 years back?
I was 14. Maybe, yes, not to I can't find the word, to think so much about the future, because just follow my dreams will be okay. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing now. But at that time, I was worried about the future, the adult life. So maybe that will be, yes. Okay. The next one is, what profession would you choose if you weren't a poker player?
I would be in sports. I would do something in sports. What most people probably don't know, before I started playing poker, and it was, I think before I studied, after I finished my college, I applied for the police. And I had a couple of tests. The first one I failed for I think it's like the state police. Then I applied for the federal police, and I passed the test. But then I realized, I think then when they invited me to the next round, they said, well, federal police, you're going to be, you're not very flexible in your plans, right? You cannot just say, hey, tomorrow I will go to, I don't know, to Barcelona, or I want to go to Sweden. You know, you have certain responsibilities. I was young and I really liked this kind of freedom. You can go wherever you want, even though I haven't had the money at all, but that was what I was dreaming of. You know, I would like to be free. I would like to be independent, but I also like the idea of what the police is doing and what they're doing for their country. And I always wanted to help. And of course, I was not necessarily like I haven't had the idea that they're doing everything perfect. So, and I thought, okay, if you want to make an impact, then go there and try to make it better. Maybe get into a position where you will have the influence. But I thought it's probably not my thing. And then I didn't go to the next round. And then I went to university to learn about business. I always wanted to learn how to build a business. And I also realized, well, you don't necessarily learn how to build a business in college. So, but I would probably do something with sports. I used to play football, maybe like a sports scientist or management. I think this is something that I could consider doing, if I wouldn't be a poker player.
Right. Yeah, well, poker is it like a mind sport? So
yeah,
something like that. And sorry about this question, but what is your favorite emoji?
My favorite emoji, probably the one of the three donkeys that either close eyes or like this.
Very, very funny. Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I probably used them the most when they came out. You can use them for almost every situation. If you say something naughty, you know, you're like yeah, probably the one that has the mouth closed. I think this emoji might be my favorite emoji.
Great choice. Okay, that's it, Ben. Thank you for.
Okay, what is your favorite emoji? Now you have to share that as well.
I don't want to answer that question now. I think I really like the moon. There is a moon looking like.
But it's the half moon, right?
Yeah. No, the moon with the face.
Yeah. I know.
Like,
yeah.
That expression is very funny. I think. I really can use it for everything too, like the monkeys, I think. Thank you so much. Well, maybe we can do it again in some weeks. I don't know, you're always invited.
Sure. Great.
Thank you so much, Ben.
I really appreciate the invitation, and also thank you to the Spanish community. You're great poker players, and I hope you guys gonna crush it on the tables and then see you at the tables, and hopefully you're not going to have so much luck when I'm at your table, but if you play against all the others, best of luck.